What's good? It's Woog. Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder is off once again. Deontay Wilder got upset by Joseph Parker, but Anthony Joshua handled business against Otto Wallin, stopping him after 5 rounds. Otto Wallin in his corner, they ended the fight between the 5th and the 6th round after Anthony Joshua absolutely dominated the first 5 rounds. And wow, look, I thought that it was more of a question on if Wilder was going to handle things on his side against Joseph Parker because of Wilder's inactivity, his age, his feast or famine fight style, where he's either knocking you out or probably losing the round. Whereas Anthony Joshua, I felt more confident that he was going to beat Otto Wallin. I know that a lot of people thought that Otto Wallin was a really live dog here. I know Chris Mannix thought that. Teddy Atlas picked Otto Wallin to beat Anthony Joshua. But man, I don't know if I have ever seen a better version of Anthony Joshua. He was operating under the tutelage of Ben Davison for this one. His 2 fights prior were Derek James. And as much scrutinizing and psychoanalyzing that fight fans and the boxing community likes to do with Anthony Joshua, he just seemed like a grown professional. Like even if you saw the cuts of him, back in the locker room getting his hand taped, he looked very calm. He looked like he was on a mission. He doesn't seem like he's the same, just happy-go-lucky, smiley people pleaser that he was earlier in his career. He's almost at the stage of his fight where, like Kanye said on his 3rd album, Graduation, you can't tell me nothing. Anthony Joshua is very, very experienced, right? But he put all of the tools together in a way against Otto Wallin in a fashion that it's like if you were to take out any sort of a mental or psychological weakness, right, and just strip any of that might or might not exist in Anthony Joshua, and you were just to make him the best version that somebody of his stature and with his tools can be, the best fighter that's possible with that guy, I feel like what we saw against Otto Wallin was an approximation of that. I mean, everything from just him owning the jab battle. Like, I know Otto Wallin is a tricky southpaw, but man, Anthony Joshua dominated the jab battle. He dominated the range control. Anthony Joshua had a couple inches of, few inches in reach, even though they were nearly the same height. But Anthony Joshua just stopped Otto Wallin from getting anything going. And Otto Wallin was just taking shots. He was taking left hands. He was taking a few right hands. He was taking some shots to the body. Anthony Joshua was just doing so many things right. And he just looked like the far more talented guy between the two. Like, I've never seen anybody, do this to Otto Wallin. I know he only has that 1 loss to Tyson Fury, but Anthony Joshua made this look like, I don't know, like if you look at WWE, WWF, wrestling, right? You've got the superstar and then you've got the jobber, the guy who, when they cut back from commercial, the guy's already in the ring. He doesn't even have a theme song. He's got a regular name, right? So he's just in the ring, no lights go down or anything, but he just raises his hand and he's like a nobody. And then the lights go down and you hear like the dong or something, the Undertaker theme song, or you hear like some really cool theme song as the lights go down. There's a big old production. The guy enters the ring and that's the superstar. And then the superstar might take 1 or 2 punches or maybe a drop kick or a 1 body slam or something. Otherwise, the superstar owns and dominates the fight and finishes the guy with his finishing move and everything. Anthony Joshua treated Otto Wallin like Joshua was the superstar and Wallin was the other guy. And I didn't think that this fight was going to be that dominant. I thought that there were going to be a few rounds where Anthony Joshua would have to kind of figure Wallin out and then assert control of the fight in the middle and late rounds and then get the stoppage. I thought Joshua was going to stop him, but I thought it was going to be late, and I thought that it was going to be after some early, maybe even middle round difficulty. He had nearly 0 difficulty. And again, I feel like this might have been the best version we've seen of Anthony Joshua. Maybe there was something about Otto Wallin being less of a threat than Alexander Usyk, than Andy Ruiz, than Alexander Povetkin. Maybe it was because punching power-wise, Wallin was less of a threat than some other Anthony Joshua opponents. And that's why Joshua felt so comfortable letting his hands go and really just putting the pieces together in a remarkable way. But I don't know, it's not like Jermaine Franklin was a huge punching power threat. And Joshua was respectful of, well, I know he was hitting Jermaine Franklin a lot. He just couldn't get him out of there. But again, he just fought this fight against Wallin nearly perfectly. Like, I don't know who. I'm almost hesitant to say I don't know who beats this version of Anthony Joshua right now. Like, how would Joshua do against Tyson Fury, Zhilei Zhang? They're talking about, or Eddie Hearn was talking about maybe Joshua fighting Filip Ergovic next. I would love to see that fight. And, you know, Robert Helenius was probably is a bigger punching threat than Otto Wallin. But again, I have not seen Anthony Joshua operate like this type of a boxer puncher where you're kind of marrying the skills with the aggression. We saw some aggression. It wasn't head over skis, throw caution to the wind aggression. It was intelligent aggression, but it was some aggression and power punching nonetheless. I love what I saw from Anthony Joshua. For everything that I didn't see in Deontay Wilder, and as bad of a performance as that was, what we saw from Anthony Joshua was the most we could have asked for from Anthony Joshua. So yeah, I don't have too much else to add to that. I mean, he damn near pitched a shutout. And again, his range control, his evolving, or should I say, evolved jab. And some of that was under the tutelage of Derrick James as well, but I don't know who he should enter the next fight with. Do you go with Derrick James? He said he's going to go back with Derrick James. Or do you go back with Ben Davison? I was going to say Pete Davidson, but stay with Ben Davison for your next fight. Extremely impressive performance from Anthony Joshua. I didn't expect him to be this damn good in this fight. I feel like a lot of people have been waiting to like just write him off, and they're just waiting for him to have one more collapse. And, you know, maybe it was because of his post-fight behavior in the rematch against Usyk, and they're like, oh yeah, the writing's on the wall with Joshua, or them again just kind of picking apart his mental state. But hey, man, if we see this version of Joshua again, he's going to be a problem for a lot of guys who the boxing community looks at as being the boogeyman. Speaking of boogeymen, that Makhmudov loss against Caballero, that was something, right? But yeah, Anthony Joshua is back in a real way. And this might have been his best performance. I know he stopped Vladimir Klitschko, so it's hard to argue with that. He stopped Alexander Povetkin after having difficulty with him in the first couple rounds, getting bloodied up and such. But this was such a complete performance and just a methodical beatdown to the point where Otto Wallin in his corner had no interest. And I said it, I was watching the fight with my family. I said, as Wallin was walking back to the fifth, just with the shots that he was taking and how he was kind of getting knocked against the ropes and just moving around the ring, looking super in distress. I'm looking at Wallin like, I don't know if he's going to want to come back out after that. Like, he really took a beating in that one. And yeah, about a minute later, all of a sudden I see Anthony Joshua celebrating. It's like, oh man, they stopped the fight. Like, super impressive. Let me know your thoughts on Joshua versus Otto Wallin. Where does Joshua go from here? Who would you like to see him fight next? Now that we know it's not going to be Deontay Wilder, which, yeah, I'm going to talk about that one as well. But let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.